Why, hi there. I'm Miss Barbara from the Huntington Beach Library. Welcome to another edition of Paper Plate Crafts and Storytimes. As you can see, today's paper plate craft is going to be an elephant puppet. But before we start today's craft, I have some stories I'd like to read. As you can see, I am sheltering at home just like you are, but just because we're at home and keeping our social distance, it doesn't mean we can't be creative and we can't have fun. So to get excited about our elephant craft we're going to be making today, I have some elephant stories. This elephant story is called Elmer, and this book is by David McKee. We're going to find out about Elmer, because Elmer is not an ordinary elephant, as you can see. And I actually have my very own Elmer. Let's bring Elmer out here. You can see my very own Elmer. Now, when we make our elephants today, you might want to make your Elmer look like this one, all different types of colors. Now, once there was a herd of elephants. Elephants young, elephants old, elephants tall, elephants short, fat, and thin. They were all very different and all the same shade of gray. All of them except for one, and I think we know who that elephant is. It was Elmer. Elmer was not your ordinary elephant. Elmer was a patchwork elephant. He was all sorts of colors. He was yellow, orange, red, pink, purple, blue, green, black, and white. He was a sight to see. It was Elmer who kept the other elephants happy. Their games and jokes were always his idea. If an elephant was laughing, it was because of Elmer. All the elephants were happy, all except for Elmer. Elmer wasn't happy. "Who ever heard of a patchwork elephant?" he thought. "No wonder they laugh at me." One morning, just as the others were waking up, Elmer walked through the jungle. Where do you think he's going? And as he walked through the jungle, Elmer met other animals. "Hey, good morning, Elmer!" they all called out. After a long walk, Elmer found what he was looking for. And what was he looking for? A bush full of elephant-colored berries. He shook the bush as hard as he could to get the berries to fall on the ground. And what do you think he's going to do with those berries? Elmer lay down and he rolled this way and that way and that way and this way. He rolled through all the berries and then he covered himself from head to toe with berry juice until he became one solid gray. Now he looked like all the other elephants. On his way back to the jungle, Elmer passed the other animals. "Good morning, elephant," they said. You know, they don't know it's Elmer anymore because he looks just like all the other elephants. When Elmer rejoined the herd, none of the other elephants noticed. Because he looks just like them, he doesn't stand out. And as he stood there, Elmer felt that something was wrong. But what? He looked around. Same old jungle. Same old blue sky, same old elephants. What could it be? The other elephants were standing absolutely silent, still and serious. Elmer had never seen them look so serious before. It made him want to laugh. He could hardly control himself. He stood there until finally he just raised up his trunk and as loud as he could, he shouted out, "Boo!" Now, what do you think that made the other elephants do? Why, they all jumped up in surprise. "Too bad Elmer isn't here to see this. Too bad he can't share the fun," the elephants said, and they all started laughing. And then a rain cloud burst, and as the rain fell on Elmer, his patchwork started to wash off. So you can see there the other elephants laughing, and now Elmer's patchwork is starting to show through.
You played some good jokes before, said one of the elephants, but this is the best joke ever. What would we do without you?
Yeah, we've got to celebrate this every day, every year, said another. The day of Elmer's best joke.
Yeah, all of us other elephants will decorate ourselves in his honor, said a third. And Elmer, he'll have to be decorated in elephant color.
And so, now, every day, once a year, that's what the elephants do. They color themselves yellow, orange, pink, red, purple, blue, green, black, or white and have a parade. And if you happen to see an elephant on Elmer Day Parade who's just gray while all the other elephants are all dressed up, you happen to know it just has to be... Who is it? It has to be Elmer. And that is the story of Elmer the Patchwork Elephant by David McKee. So as I said, if you want to make an elephant today that's all different colors, once I show you how to make your elephant, you can. But I have another elephant I'm going to be showing you. This is so we can make an elephant puppet. And this elephant is based on a story, The Elephant's Child, which is from Just So Stories by Rudyard Kipling. So it's a retelling of this story. Once upon a time when the world was young, all elephants looked like this. They had little tiny button noses and knees that were silky smooth. Now the elephant's child was very, very curious. And every day he'd ask questions. But his most persistent question that he would ask was, "Hey, what does the alligator eat for dinner?" And the elephants would say,
"Stay away from the alligator. You don't need to know."
"But I want to know. What does the alligator eat for dinner?" And the elephant said,
"We don't go near the alligator. We don't know what he likes to eat for dinner."
The baby elephant really wanted to know. "Hey, I really want to know. What does the alligator eat for dinner?" So baby elephant went into the jungle to find out. He asked Mr. Lion, "Hey, Mr. Lion, what does the alligator eat for dinner?" And the lion said,
"I don't know. I don't go close to Mr. Alligator."
"Oh," said baby elephant. So he went and asked Miss Giraffe, "Miss Giraffe, what does the alligator eat for dinner?" And Miss Giraffe said, "I don't go near Mr. Alligator. I don't know." So he went and asked Miss Zebra, "Hey, Miss Zebra, what does the alligator eat for dinner?" And Miss Zebra said, "I don't know. I don't go near an alligator if I can help it." Well, baby elephant really wanted to know. "I really want to know, what does the alligator eat for dinner?" And little bee happened to be buzzing by. Bzzz. And little bee heard elephant and said, "So you want to know what the alligator eats for dinner?" And baby elephant said, "Yes, I do. What does the alligator eat for dinner?" And the bee said, "Well, why don't you go ask the alligator?" So baby elephant decided, "Yeah, I think that's what I'll do. I'll go ask the alligator." But that's what baby elephant did. He went right up to the riverbed and he shouted out as loud as he could, "Hey, Mr. Alligator, what do you eat for dinner?" And from the river up arose Mr. Alligator with his big sharp teeth and his great big mouth and his small beady eyes. And he said,
"I can't hear you. Come a little closer."
So baby elephant got a little closer and said, "Mr. Alligator, what do you eat for dinner?" And the alligator said,
"I can't hear you. Come a little closer."
So baby elephant got close and said, "What do you eat for dinner?" And Mr. Alligator said,
"Oh, you want to know what I eat for dinner? Well, my favorite thing to eat happens to be baby elephants."
And he grabbed baby elephant by the nose, and alligator pulled, and he pulled, and baby elephant pulled, and finally Mr. Alligator let go, but baby elephant's nose was stretched out, and his knees, because he was kneeling in the sand not to get pulled into the river, they got all wrinkly. And so they're wrinkly to this very day. And so baby elephant had to go back to the herd with his big long nose. And when the other elephants, they said, "Baby elephant, what happened to your nose?" Now you think that baby elephant would have been very sad because his nose was now very, very long. But baby elephant loved his big nose. Why, he found out he was able to reach bananas from the tall tree. And he could squirt water on his back. And he was having such fun, and he loved his long nose so much that all the other elephants said, "Baby elephant, how'd you get such a big nose?" And baby elephant said, "Well, I asked the alligator what he ate for dinner, and he pulled my nose, but I was able to get away, and now I have this great nose." And the other elephants liked baby elephant's nose so much, they all went back down to Mr. Alligator and had him pull their noses too, which is why to this very day, elephants have long noses and wrinkly knees. And that is the story of the elephant's child. I'm going to show you how to make your own elephant's child, or you can make an Elmer elephant, or you could make up a plain regular elephant if you want. So the first thing you're going to need are 2 paper plates. One paper plate will be for the elephant's face. And if you want to make Elmer, you can decorate it all different patchwork. You can use googly eyes. You can draw your eyes. You can put a big smile. Now, you may not want to make a nose that you pull through a hole. You might just want to use a piece of paper. So you can see I have a piece of paper. It can be like a 12 inches long or a little bit smaller if you want. I took my paper, it's white, and I colored it gray. And then you can see I folded it accordion style. That's what gives it its wrinkles. So I folded it up like this. I unfolded it, and then I scotch taped it to my elephant. And now I have the elephant with his trunk. All right, that's one way you can make a nose. But you could also cut a hole in your elephant's face. Now to do that, you can try to stab a hole in it, but this is a little bit safer and I think a little bit easier. You want to fold your plate, not all the way in half, just a little bit. Gives you a little bit so it makes it easier to cut a hole in here. You can make a big hole or a little hole because you can use your finger for a trunk. You can use a balloon for a trunk. You can use a party horn for a trunk. As I said, you can use your finger if you wanted to. Short, long, short, long. But what I did with my sample was I used a sock. Because when I do my laundry, somehow I always end up with all these extra socks with no mate. And what do you do with a sock that has no mate? Well, I tended to use it for my nose. You can see I just pull it back in. And you can see now it's a short nose again. And the back gives me something to hold on to, so I can make it like a little puppet. And then I can just pull his nose out when I want to make his nose long again. And that's just a plain spare sock. Now, how do you make the ears for your elephant? You want to take your second paper plate. You're going to fold it in half. I always fold the plates in half because it makes it a little bit easier to cut them in half because we're going to cut this in half. So I now have a nice big thick fold here. I'm going to cut that fold in half. Doesn't have to be perfect. There we go. All right, so it's folded in half, but you can see that doesn't really look much like an ear, does it? So we're now going to round the edges a little bit. What does that mean? It means I cut off the corners a little bit. See, like that? Does that look a little more like an ear? I'm going to do that with this side too. Kind of round the edges a little bit. And now I have my elephant ear. I'm going to do that with my other side, then I color it. And you can see here is my sample. Now, elephants have ears that move, right? So when I taped my ears, I made it so they could flap back and forth. But you don't have to do that. If you rather just staple your ear up there, you can, so his ears don't move. I wanted my ears to move. So you can give him a paper nose. You can give him a party horn nose. You can just give him a regular nose if you want. You can put your finger in and out. Or if you have a sock, you can give him a sock nose and do your own version of the elephant's child. And this could be your alligator too if you don't have an alligator puppet. You can make your alligator like this and have him grab the nose. So that is today's craft. As I said, a pictorial of this will be posted on the Friends of the Children's Library Facebook page. It will also be posted on the library's website, hbpl.org under Kids Corner. So let's sing our goodbye song. Let's get our clapping hands ready, and here we go. Now it's time for us to go. It's time for us to say goodbye. But it won't be long, my friends, until we meet again. So long, farewell, goodbye. Well, this is Miss Barbara signing off until next week and another paper plate craft.